All right, now we're in step number 5 of 7 in the steps to quitting your job in 1 to 3 years. And this step number 5 is to build your pipeline. So the launch step of quitting your job in 1 to 3 years with real estate investing is all about activity and not so much about outcome. However, if you do the work, you will invariably get an outcome without even trying. You're going to have a pipeline of deals and investors. You're going to have your team on the ground ready to go. So the pipeline step is all about continuing to make offers and raising money to build your pipeline. And the bigger your pipeline, the faster you're going to do your first deal. Now, in addition to making offers, you'll also have to deal with mental challenges to survive what I call the graveyard of apartment building investing. So stick around to the end of this video where I share 3 tips to overcome these setbacks. Hey, I'm Michael Blanc. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, investor, and coach, and I'm passionate about helping others become financially free in 1 to 3 years by investing in real estate. Through my investment company, Nighthawk Equity, I control over $300 million of real estate. More importantly, I've helped my students acquire over 14,000 units at the time of this recording. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, crush the notification bell so you get more videos like this in the ultimate guide to financial freedom with real estate investing. Let's do this. Okay, so here are the keys to surviving the graveyard of apartment building investing. Because after a few months, the excitement begins to wane and the entrepreneur becomes frustrated by the apparent lack of progress. And as a result, many give up their quest for financial freedom for 2 primary reasons. Number 1 is lack of support and community, and number 2 is delays, setbacks, and challenges. Now, after having worked with hundreds of students, I found that these feelings of despair affect every entrepreneur at one time or another, sometimes more than once. The key is how you respond to it. So let's drill down on each of these so that you're in the best position to handle and overcome them. Let's first talk about the lack of support and community. Because being a real estate entrepreneur and seeking your first apartment building deal is kind of a lonely sport, right? Chances are you don't have a single friend or family member who has done what you want to do. In fact, many of your friends and family members think you're kind of crazy, okay? And they're doing nothing to encourage you on your journey. And that's the issue. If who are you going to return to when you have a question? Now, even the best course or seminar won't be able to address every possible situation that you might encounter because every deal is going to be a little bit different. And so the question is, who are you going to turn to when you have a question, when there's an issue? Are you buying right? Are you analyzing correctly? Are you too eager to do a deal? Now, what you should do about the mold issue or that you uncovered or the foundational issue? Are these major issues or are these minor issues? And the thing is, many of these questions can paralyze you if you don't have someone to turn to for support. Now, the key to succeeding in this step is to get some kind of support and join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs. Ours is called the Deal Maker Mastermind. Several hundred people in there just as crazy as you, pursuing their dream of financial freedom and doing deals. So you might want to consider joining that. But like as an example for this community thing, like my wife was doing this Insanity Max 30 for a while, right? It's this DVD workout program and you try to hang out with Drill Sergeant Sean T until you have to take a break, at which point you've maxed out. Okay, truly insane workout. Now I play tennis competitively, therefore I'm in pretty good shape, okay? Or so I thought until I did one of these sessions. Sheesh. So I maxed out at minute 10 and never really recovered. My wife was egging me on, at first encouraging me and then calling me a little baby. And that worked for a little while until I finally gave up around minute 20. Then it dawned on me, if I really wanted to get in shape, I should exercise more and maybe even do this Insanity Max program. The problem is, I don't really love exercising, so completing this program is a major challenge for me. What would really help me though is for someone to hold me accountable and be supportive. It's the same thing for most new real estate investors. A lack of support and community is one of the major reasons they quit. But not to worry, here are 3 tips to help you overcome this particular challenge as well. So 3 tips for a better community. 1 is to find an accountability partner. It's a proven fact that for every 100 people who attend a seminar, only 10 will actually take any kind of action. Now, if you're one of the 90% of people who don't naturally stick with something after they started, you will need an accountability partner. Someone who's going to encourage you, hold you accountable, keep you on track. Now, this person could be a spouse, great, or friend, or someone you pay like a coach or mentor. It doesn't matter so much which one you seek out, but you must align yourself with a person like that. Otherwise, your efforts will peter out sooner than later. Tip number 2 is to surround yourself with like-minded people. So for the exercise session, for example, my accountability partner was my wife, who encouraged me to join her and then reminded me of my goal to get into better shape. But as much as she tried, she failed to get me through the entire 30 minutes. She was only my wife, right? And if I embarrassed myself in front of her, well, it wasn't a big deal. I do this all week. You know what I mean? But what if there were 6 other people in the room, right? Surely I would have to try a little harder because I didn't want to embarrass myself to 6 other people. Now, the same is true of your real estate startup business. Make sure you surround yourself with a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are working towards the same goal and who can support you. Now, on good days, you want to share your successes. That's awesome. But who can truly understand what you're going through right now? Now, on bad days, you need to tell someone, someone's going to tell you, hey, it's okay, keep on going, right? Who really understands what we go through? Very few people, right? And it's unfortunately not really friends and family. It's going to have to be other people like you. And that's why you need to have a community of like-minded entrepreneurs. Again, it doesn't matter as much what kind of community you have, but it does matter that you're part of one. The community could be a mastermind group that you create, or maybe you join someone, maybe people you meet at a seminar or a boot camp. In person, of course, is best, but a virtual one is an excellent, often a more practical alternative. Now, either way, unpaid or paid, in-person or virtual, you must be part of a community, because this will ensure the longevity of your actions and the eventual success of your venture. And I invite you to check out ours, which is called the Dealmaker Mastermind at themichaelblank.com/DMM. Tip number 3 is to find a mentor, advisor, or coach. Well, look at all the top athletes or even top CEOs. They all have coaches. Top actors have coaches. In fact, the most successful people in the world have coaches. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a coach? Right? Why not? Now, if you don't have a coach, you may struggle to achieve your goals. You'll eventually, I'm convinced, eventually achieve your goals. So it's going to take you a lot longer, and you're going to make a lot more mistakes than are otherwise necessary. You're going to encounter situations you've never seen, and a mentor can help you navigate those uncharted waters. You can recruit a mentor who agrees to meet you for lunch every so often and answer your questions. And you may be able to find someone like that at your local RIA or by asking around, or not. But in general, I recommend that you maybe build a bit of an advisory board of experienced investors. They're absolutely invaluable. Now, I found that most of the time you're not going to get the kind of support you really need from a volunteer mentor, especially in the beginning. And that's why I think it's best to hire a coach or a mentor who can help you do your first deal. Not every successful real estate entrepreneur has a paid coach. Sometimes you can't afford one, but they've always had a mentor or advisor of some sort or another. Here's the reasons that some people quit. There's 2 reasons, and one of them is that they did not address the issue of support one way or another. And the solution is to find the accountability partner, start or join a community of like-minded people, and to find an experienced mentor or coach. If you follow these tips, your chances for success literally skyrocket. But again, if you're still a bit stuck on this step and you're looking for the right community, you're looking for support, then talk with us about that. We have all kinds of resources, something for everyone, wherever you are. Just book a call with us. Go to themichaelblank.com/call. Let's have a conversation. Let's see how we can support you. Reason number 2, delays, setbacks, and challenges. Okay, reason number 1 why people fail is there's not enough support. The other one, though, is a practical matter of experiencing delays, setbacks, and challenges. What happens is right around the 3rd month, okay, it's between 2 and 3 months, after someone gets started, right, the initial adrenaline kind of wears off, and they become a little frustrated that they haven't done a first deal, they haven't raised any money yet. And frankly, it's kind of more work than they thought it would be. And they might say to themselves, you know what, I don't think this multifamily thing is going to work. Or maybe it works for others, but not for me. So here are some tips for dealing with these days of doubt and discouragement. All right, the first tip I have for you is to revisit your original why. Remember the vision map exercise from a while back, that when we kind of talked about why we're doing it and how we're going to do it. Now it's your time to revisit your vision map and review why you decided to embark on this crazy journey in the first place. Was it to quit your job, right? Okay, why? So you can spend more time with your family, to travel more, to escape the constant pressure of having to provide for your family. Why was that important again, right? Oh, so I could regain control of my time, so I can do whatever I wanted, with whom I wanted, wherever I wanted. And why was that important, right? Go back to that point. And whatever it was for you, go back to that time when you decided to get started, when you were excited. You must have had a really darn good reason to get excited about it. You know, what pain were you running from? Or what better things did you want for yourself and your family? Now, if this tip doesn't get you going, then redo the vision map exercise. But this time, really do it. Spend time on it, meditate over it, pray over it, involve your spouse and family. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss more of these videos. One of my favorite quotes is from Tony Robbins. He said, "It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped." I find that whenever a person truly decides something, the only possible outcome is action, sustained action. On the other hand, whenever I see a person not taking action or sustained action, and I ask further, I find that the person truly has not decided. They may say they want something, but they're lying to themselves, and maybe even others. This is why it's important that you decide right now. If you want to change your life, or you want to have the same life this time next year, then don't change anything. But if you want to change your life, you have to change something. And then decide right now that you want a different life. Because once you do, you will find that you're naturally going to take action. You're naturally going to find the time. You're going to figure it out. Because the universe will give you what you truly want. And I've seen this in my own life and in many others as well. But you do have to truly, authentically decide. Tip number 2 in dealing with setbacks is to put things in perspective. What you're doing with apartment buildings is kind of hard, right? It's definitely a worthwhile thing, but with everything worthwhile, it's kind of hard to do. It's not like you can get the results you want, in 30 days or less. I wish I could give you an easy pill to swallow. But no, you have to stick with it. And you got to stick with it for a while, right? And it might take you several months to do your first deal, and it might take you 1 or 2 years to quit your job. Now, while this is a really long time, look at it from this perspective. Your retirement plan is only 1 to 3 years, and most people do it with 1 to 2 years. Most people have a 40+ year retirement plan, but yours is only 1 to 2 years. Isn't that a lot better, right? So if you're considering giving up after 3 months or whatever, right? Think about the timeline you're actually on. You know that you're on a 1 to 3 year timeline, and that is a lot better than 40+ years, right? So think about that, and then put yourself in perspective when you start losing a little bit of steam. Okay, enough complaining about how long it's going to take. Get back to working the actual plan. Tip number 3, staying on track, is to recognize and celebrate your successes, even if they're small. I find in working with students that they often don't recognize the progress they're actually making. They're so focused on the first deal or money raised that when it just doesn't happen in the first few months, they become discouraged. But in reality, they've made amazing progress. And it's important to recognize this by celebrating the small wins. So here's some examples of what I'm talking about, some of the small successes and why they're important. For example, you analyzed 10 deals. Doesn't appear to be a big deal to you, but it's huge because it demonstrates that you stuck with it. Anyone can analyze a few deals, but 10 shows persistence. Good for you. And another reason this milestone is important is because after analyzing on 10 deals, your confidence level increases substantially, and that makes this a meaningful milestone. Another big win, or small win, is that you submitted your first letter of intent, okay? Now you've watched this far in the series, then you know by now that whenever you analyze a deal, you're also making a 10-minute offer, which is an informal offer. If you get a reaction from the seller, such as, hey, a counter offer, or you're asked to put an offer in writing, then you submit a letter of intent. Being asked to submit an LOI assumes that you probably made a dozen or even several dozen 10-minute offers, and that's a huge accomplishment. Then you somehow convinced the broker that he should take you seriously, which means you probably have a compelling team and a higher level of confidence. In other words, being asked to submit an LOI is a massive milestone, and you should celebrate it lavishly. Or number 3, you've had your first investor meeting, right? If you've convinced someone to meet you for an hour to discuss investing with you, that means you must have reached out to at least a dozen or so people in your network. You've had conversations with them, right? A lot of prep time went in, activity to get that first investor meeting. Therefore, you ought to ring the bell. Or number 4, a major milestone that you should celebrate is that your team is in place. You've interviewed people, you now have identified your favorite property manager, your favorite commercial mortgage broker. This is a huge milestone. These are 2 critical members of your team. Without them, you're literally flying blind. So you need to recognize and celebrate this very important accomplishment. Or how about this? You got your first investor commitment. Maybe it was a friend of yours or a brother-in-law, and they're in for $50,000. Don't gloss over this as a non-event. This is actually huge because not only did a lot of activity precede this milestone, but you made someone else comfortable with investing with you. That's huge. So this is going to propel you forward, and therefore you have to celebrate this as a major milestone. Another major milestone is you actually have a deal under contract, right? Just because you got an LOI signed doesn't mean you're going to get a contract signed. An LOI is not a legally binding document. It leaves out a bunch of details, and kind of brokers sometimes treat it that way. And, they're really going to save the real negotiation for the contract. So many times the devil's in the details, and the seller might not agree on the terms of the deal as they're spelled out in the contract. So getting a deal under contract also means that you made the seller comfortable with you, your team, and your ability to close. So therefore, just getting on a contract, even if you haven't closed it yet, is a huge milestone. You might want to consider taking the family out for dinner. So the bottom line is this: stick with it. Because the key to surviving the graveyard apartment building investing is, first and foremost, awareness. Anticipate the feelings of doubt and discouragement that you might experience. You're going to get setbacks, challenges, delays, and this is where an accountability partner, an advisor, is key because they will guide you through these days of doubt and discouragement. They're going to put these feelings that you might get into perspective, remind you of your goals, highlight the progress you've already made, and encourage you to keep going. The good news is that if you can get over this 3-month hump, you're actually kind of good to go because you've built more habits, you've built momentum. Just be aware of it, surround yourself with a good support, and keep on moving forward. Now hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any videos about achieving financial freedom with real estate. Let me know your thoughts or questions in the comments below. I'm going to see you in the next video.